Hello and welcome back to another video for Final Fantasy XIV. Today, of course, 6.1 is out. I thought I'd share my first impressions and sort of opinions on the duty support system. So the duty support system, if you don't know anything about that, is a way for characters new to the game, players new to the game, who want to actually play through the game without any queue times. This allows for them to essentially do that for a Realm Reborn content currently up to 2.0. So they're planning to add Heavensward and Stormblood support to it at a later date, but you'll find that if you go to the duty button here next to your character button, you will find the duty support button under Raid Finder. On here, this rainbow colored background will display various expansions and the base game. We have Endwalker Trusts on here as well. We have Shadowbringers, and then we have a Realm Reborn. Of course, like I say, there will be adding other buttons here, probably moving these across for Heavensward and Stormblood. The intent of this feature is to actually enable queue times to be instantaneous with NPCs for players who want to get through the main storyline at a pace, especially if you're playing early hours. This is something I've experienced, especially when I play on my Oceanic alt or my American alts. A lot of the time I'm not playing at American or Oceanic peak times, so obviously it is less people to play with. This bridges that gap and allows me to still progress if I so wish to do so. Another way that people can look at this is perhaps they've been put off with Final Fantasy XIV because of the MMO aspect of it. And this is something Square Enix brought up themselves, is that they wanted to attract more players to the game who perhaps would be put off by the MMO nature. That doesn't mean that they're not incentivizing the MMO and playing with other people. That is the main thing of the game, and runs will always be superior. But as you can see, this is like a way of fixing that for people so they can learn things, or perhaps they just, don't want to trouble other people. Regardless of your opinions on that and what you think about them turning essentially this is an option to a single player game as well, let's actually have a look at one of these dungeons. So one of the dungeons I'm most interested in is the 1,000 Maws of Totorog, because apparently this has been changed the most significantly out of all of them. So not only have they addressed this with NPCs, they've actually permanently changed the dungeons themselves. This has also featured the Praetorium, Porta Decumana, and Castrum Meriadnum now being 4-player. Porta Decumana is actually Ultima, by the way, down here. This is actually Ultima Normal. As you can see, you get Tomes of Poetics for that. That's 4-player. The Praetorium is now 4-player without La Habrea or Ultima, and Castrum Meriadnum is 4-player as well. So those are the changes there. Very interesting. We'll have to sort of judge that another time, and we'll try out the MSQ. But I'm interested in 1,000 Maws specifically because of changes. So they have changed the dungeon specifically. It looks like we can't change anything here. It looks like we're playing with a Marauder, a Thaumaturge with glasses, and a Lancer with green hair. Let's go straight in here. And this is my first impressions of this. But the rumor has it is that this one has changed the most, that they've actually changed apparently the map, as well as the fidelity of some graphics in here. Textures have been changed. Already, my first impression is, was that grass always here? I'm not really sure. So brace yourselves for this map. But this is the new 1,000 Maws of Totorog. Holy moly. So if you're a veteran player, you will notice that there are no extra halls. So previously you had like extra rooms, and you had to pick up photo cells to unlock the chamber to access the next area and so on. Now it's 3 bosses in a row by the looks of it, with trash, of course, in between, trash monsters. But they've also removed photo cells, apparently. That's the rumor. So let's go and say hello to this dungeon, see what it's like. Let's turn the sound effects down because those are incredibly loud. But yeah, so you've got your lore book stuff still on the side. It looks like the packs themselves have remained the same, and this is okay. That's exactly how a trust would do that. I just realized I didn't tab back to my actual abilities there. But okay, so far pretty much identical. Keep forgetting I don't have many abilities at this level. That's something I always do. I can't apply my Eucrasian Dosis, for example, or anything like that. It's just Dosis spamming, basically, and my AoE when it comes off. But, yeah, pretty excited to see how they've changed this. But it looks like they've just sort of dead-ended a lot of these places. Yeah, it looks that way. It does look a lot more vibrant in here, I have to admit. Like this, I don't believe this was here before, this particular sort of light beam. Yeah, they've brought this up a lot. The textures of this place are actually quite nice. In fact, the gear that the NPCs are wearing, rather, is also changed, I believe. Yeah, a lot of this old stuff is not as blocky as it used to be, or at least maybe it doesn't look like it. They've definitely focused on lighting here, lighting and shadows, look. This is like step one of getting towards a much more modern looking experience for the older dungeons. And they're going to be doing this for all of that content as well, not just, you know, 1,000 Maws of Totorok. So hopefully they do this with Heavensward ones as well, because I can imagine stuff like Stone Vigil looking insane, and like, like Dusk Vigil and places like that, and the Airy, and oh my goodness, that's going to be so good. But yeah, I'm not going to waffle too much. I'm just going to show you highlights as we go through. But yeah, let's skip on to the next section after this Selmite, and we'll see what they've changed. So it looks like... Wait, do the spider's webs still do what they used to do? We need to guarantee that they still do that. They no longer suck? Oh... That's really interesting. So you know how you stepped on like the spider's web and it sucked you in, and then your teammates would have to destroy a web here? That no longer exists, and instead you've got these like strange textured walls. That's interesting. I didn't think they would change that. Overall, I think that the mentality has been to simplify a lot of these duties and just overall make it a much more smooth experience for a new player. Some people could see that as potential nerfing of the, you know, of the actual content. I don't think I see it that way personally. I mean, it doesn't really matter, these normal modes at low level, but, you know, maybe you think differently. Wow, that looks amazing. That looks like, you know, holy light is cascading down from above in the forest. Yeah, the textures are vastly improved. Vastly improved. Well, let's skip on a bit and then we'll have a look somewhere else. Alright, so this is boss one, obviously, Quirl of Ninetails. You'll notice that they've literally just collapsed the tunnels. They've actually threw boulders in here. You can no longer access other parts of the map now, obviously, to make room for the fact that it's just a straight line of corridors now. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I suppose the removal of the Magitech photocells is a positive thing overall, because they were fairly annoying. Every time I got this in my roulette, my leveling roulette, I was like, oh no, here we go again. And it wasn't hard, it was just annoying more than anything, right? Just annoying at the end of the day. So I guess that's removed that sort of feeling, because that's the last feeling I guess you want to give new players, is I don't want to do that duty again. Because sometimes you play a lot of MMORPGs, like I play a lot of Asian MMOs, and there's like Lost Ark is a prime example of that. You do like a dungeon, and there are some dungeons in that game that are great, and then there are some that you're like, yeah, that was horrible, I never want to do that again. And this was one of them for Final Fantasy XIV, honestly. So, yeah. But yeah, they've boarded up or bolded in all of the rooms. That's really interesting. Very, very interesting. So, yeah, rip old Totorok. But honestly, I'm kind of glad. This is going to be a much quicker run with players now that you don't have to worry about the photocells. Now that you don't have to worry about if someone's lost down a corridor. Because, believe it or not, when you're a new player, some people don't know how to use like the map all the time. They don't always remember to bring a map up. A lot of MMOs don't really rely on having multiple paths to somewhere. So I guess this brings it more in line overall. But yeah, you might disagree. But visually, this place looks beautiful. If we just let them DPS for a bit, look at how bright those things are. I don't remember them being as vibrant, and I don't know, lights and shadows. That's effectively what they've changed. And obviously texture resolution improvements, I'm sure they've brought them up. It's just so nice to see that they're focusing heavily on not only new content, but also willing to go back and improve upon things from before. I mean, look how beautiful this room is. It just absolutely pops with vibrancy. The light from above. Before, this place was just a drab hole, honestly, with groans and grunts whenever we got it. But I'm excited to see this now. And this is just one of the dungeons that has changed out of that huge list. There's not really much point in me continuing. It's pretty much just boss then boss. The bosses haven't really changed from what I can see. But yeah, I'm very impressed with that. Very impressed. And I do like the duty support system. It does play a lot like the trust system. So this eases people into this, knowing exactly what this is later, you know? Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying like the new 4 players with players and actually finding out what it's like in other duties. One thing I will just quickly note here. Let's just quickly, I want to show you this. We'll go into the naval just very quickly. So I don't know if you know this. This is the more controversial change to the actual dungeon as a whole, not from duty support. But Titan, my first experience with Titan has always been falling off or getting hit by landslides. All right, and then you know, being unrescuable. But you can actually, I suppose I won't be able to show that unless one of the NPCs falls off. I might be able to rescue one of them into it and demonstrate. We'll find out. But essentially, before, you couldn't resurrect somebody who fell off. Right, so you can still fall off, but you couldn't resurrect them. They were done, and you had to restart. Especially if it was like a tank or a healer, then obviously you had to kind of restart again. But let's see. This isn't a pushback, sadly. How can I demonstrate this? I should. The mission now is to try and kill an NPC. Try and get them to mess up the mechanics. It shouldn't be too hard, right? With rescue, we do actually have access to it, if it lets me use it in here, of course. There's a landslide, so that would have been the perfect rescue moment there. Let's see if we can give us another one. Give us another one, Titan. Give us a nice big rescue opportunity, and we'll try and kill the Dragoon or something. You know, here we go. Right, so boop. That's a bit too late. Also, it didn't work. You can't rescue them? Anyway, so my point is, even though we've not been able to prove it, is that if you did fall off here, you can still resurrect them now, as opposed to them, you know, being dead. And that applies to all versions of this. So, yeah. I guess that's the future, really. Let's just jump off here and give my final thoughts. I was really hoping we could rescue the NPCs to their doom, but I think they thought of that already. Dear. All right, let's just have a look at the window once more. But yeah, I'm impressed. Honestly, the AI is pretty good. As you can see, it avoids mechanics just as you would expect, because they've actually programmed them to. Yeah, what is there not to be appreciative of? A lot of people will make the argument of the game becoming single player as an option will stifle the queue times. That might be a case, but also it might just fix that problem as it is, and mean that, you know, there's probably more of the higher level duties. Who knows? Honestly, I don't think it's going to affect it in any meaningful way, because a lot of people will play this game for the MMO aspect, and I don't think a lot of people will really care about doing it, you know, with NPCs, unless they're after specific pieces of gear and they realize that they don't have to roll against anyone. That's the only thing I can think of, you know, and it's good for that as well if you want to farm some gear. But one thing I know it will be used for is people will do the 4-player with the NPCs here for poetics. Absolutely. yeah, that 150 poetics for a Praetorian run, depending on how fast that is with the NPCs, if you can kind of like bully them into pulling bigger packs, that could be quite good. But yeah, that's my opinion, my first opinions and first impressions. But yeah, who'd have thought that Tota Rak would be removed of its Magitech photo cells? 2022 is an exciting time, isn't it? I can't wait to see what they do then with Heavensward Dungeons going forth. But anyway, let me know what you think about all of this, what you think of changing old content to potentially make it easier, and of course the solo ability to play this game now. Anyway, much love, enjoy the rest of your day, and of course there will be more videos coming from 6.1. Bye bye.